Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome to a fantastic best of 5 between two brilliant players here from the European scene. In the bottom right, in the purple trunks, playing with Zerg here on Cosmic Sapphire, it is Lambo. And in the top left, spawning as our blue Protoss player, playing for Team Storm Gaming, it is none other than MaxPax. MaxPax versus Lambo here in the best of 5. Purple versus blue, interesting colors. And the first map's going to be Cosmic Sapphire. Now, this is a very interesting map. This is one of the maps that I think a lot of Zerg players are quite fond of. It's not that difficult to get all these bases up and coming. It feels like there's some ability to at least attack. You can take out these rocks here in the middle. The moment the 5th base gets taken, there's a lot of, the ability to run by kind of comes up as well. MaxPax opening up with a Twilight though. It's different from what we usually see out of Protoss players, and MaxPax is a slightly different Protoss player from most. He was one of the players that initially in the PvP matchup got very keen on that one-gate expand. When everyone said no, it is not possible to one-gate expand every single game, MaxPax was doing it. When everyone said Stargate is the best opener, MaxPax was playing Twilight every single game. First ADEPT gets into the main base, will not manage to take out a drone, but forces a Spore and also forces some of these drones to be pulled off the line. Now, Lynx will not... Ooh, actually, this is going to be quite close. It's two Lynx looking for a kill here, hunting for that kill. There is plenty of shield right now, though, on this Adept. I do believe one Lynx is going to be taken out. Metabolic Boost will not finish in time, as the Dark Shrine will start right about now. There's only a single gateway in the wall here. The Stalker has a follow-up, and now a third Adept. But that's simply not going to finish up in time, as the Dark Shrine and the Robotics Facility just cost a lot of money. Didn't really allow for MaxPax to get that extra Adept going before the Warp Gate ends up finishing up over here. Third gas on the way, and we'll have to wait and see how Lambo is going to end up responding to this, as he builds 5 more drones and goes up to a total of 41 workers, as well as going up to 6 queens over here in this game on Cosmic. This is going to be a 3-gate DT drop. 3-gate DT is... basically the slightly more economic focused version of the 4-gate DT, where you just invest a lot more into the initial DT warp in. It basically forces the Protoss player to deal a lot of damage, but one of the nice side effects of warping in 4 DTs immediately as well is that it will always allow you to get 2 Archons out, kind of for that follow-up. You don't have to wait for another warp-in cycle. So we're gonna see right now how MaxPax is going to take care of this problem. Not a single roach has been built yet. I really like that for Lambo. Slotting a little bit of money, but seems to be in good spirits right now. 4 Adepts moving in. 3 DTs are with the army as well. Spore far enough forward to provide vision on those DTs. The third base also starting right now here for MaxPax behind this. A Ling run by Wood. Maybe be capable of cancelling that, but that's not quite what's happening here. Adepts are being defended by the DTs. No Overseers, of course, coming in yet. Spore from the third base moving closer now to this general area. Lambo always needs to be careful, of course. If another DT ends up showing up to that third base and your Spore isn't in position, that could really suck. Lots of drones actually are being taken out here. MaxPax is having one hell of an early game, I have to admit. He's killing 11 workers here, DTs as well. Turn into an Archon here and end up recalling. 1 DT did end up falling. A lot of Adepts ended up falling, but so did a crap ton of workers here. Blink is going to be the follow-up of choice here for our Danish Protoss player. It's lacking a force. You see that go down. Evo Chamber on the way for Lambo as well. A very tricky early game situation right now. Oh, the Prism actually went down. Didn't even quite realize that. That is kind of painful, because it doesn't allow this Archon to continue dealing damage. It means that denying creep is practically going to be impossible for a little bit as well. I'd like to see 2 more DTs being warped in and morphed into an Archon as well. So we go into that double Archon Prism drop. I think that is a very fair thing to do here out of MaxPax. Ideally, of course, he wouldn't have lost the Prism. Ideally, he wouldn't have lost that 1 DT that he did lose on the other side of the map, but those things do happen. If you're very committed to dealing damage, often you will end up losing a couple of units, even if it isn't exactly what you want. Overlord's going to be in a bit of trouble. Perhaps these creep tumors will be in more trouble, yeah. First creep tumors and then perhaps the Overlord is going to be the plan here for MaxPax. We'll start work on those creep tumors immediately. 4 will get taken out. A couple of Lynx actually being focused down as well right now by this Archon. There's still no Overseer here with this army. That means that the Observer is not in any trouble right about now. I'm kind of surprised to not see an Overseer here. Usually Zerg players build an Overseer just so they can push away or potentially even kill an Observer like that. Fort base is being constructed right now for Lambo. As we see the gas is being relatively late here for MaxPax. Gas is one of the most important resources as a Protoss player that you can get. It allows you to get units that actually deal damage, like the Disruptor or Storm or Carriers in some cases. I'd be very surprised to see Carriers starting within the next 4 minutes, but technically it would be possible. MaxPax in a small worker lead actually. Seems like Lambo is hopping in for a cheeky Baneling run by. He's a little bit optimistic though. Look at the first person here out of MaxPax. He was looking at that third base, but right now he isn't anymore. Here we go. Stalker. See something happen on the minimap. Pulls away his workers just barely in time actually. As a Stalker, 2 Stalkers get taken out and only 2 probes end up dying. More Stalkers being warped in here aggressively. Will start fighting off these queens. As an Archon goes down there as well. This was a kind of a sloppy attack here out of MaxPax, who's going to get completely destroyed. This will allow Lambo to do, well, basically anything that he wants right now. Lambo says, okay, I could probably go for a counterattack with my +1. Does he have Baneling speed yet? No Baneling speed, so it's pretty difficult actually to attack without Baneling speed. I guess the best solution in that case is just going to be those extra drones. That is indeed what we're seeing. 5 bases here for Lambo, still struggling to spend his money. Does not quite have the larva available, it seems like. Perhaps just lost too many queens or hasn't been focusing on injecting all that much. Creep spread also isn't fantastic. Probably doesn't matter all that much right now. I like Lambo's position. I really do. 157 supply against 122. Pure Stalker army for MaxPax is going to get forced to blink away. Lambo is going to secure vision in the middle of the map with this Selnaga watchtower. At the same time, Ling run by towards the third base, actually taking out a lot of the Stalkers here. Lings now start moving on towards the fourth, trying to maybe take out a pylon, go for a couple of probes as well. It's always going to be a possibility. These Stalkers will actually get surrounded here. That's going to be extremely painful for MaxPax if he ends up losing those. Those Stalkers will start going down. Baneling speed still hasn't started, and if you don't start something, it will never complete either. At the same time, Lynx actually putting in some work. 11 workers going down as well. Banelings. Man, Lambo's absolutely everywhere at this point. It's like he's an octopus with very many arms. Although I'm not actually sure how that would help in StarCraft 2 if you would have very many arms. I think the hardest thing often is just, you know, splitting up your vision between the minimap and your main screen. It's not like if you have 8 arms all of a sudden, like having 2 mice isn't actually that useful, I don't think. I think even if octopuses were capable of playing properly, they probably would be really bad. I think 8 arms is just simply too many. Like, there's no point. Now, if you could play, like in an Archon-like setup with your 8 arms, then it would definitely help. But then you'd still need to split your attention over all of the different screens, so it probably wouldn't help anyway. Ooh! Oh, man. Lambo definitely wishing he had 8 arms there. Probably would help with splits. Right now we have, what is this going to be? Pretty big attack, and this is just pure Stalker. It's actually going to get killed. I think this fort base is toast. Like, just complete toast right now. 177 supply against 128. +1 versus +1. Still no Baneling speed. I think this is the first time Lambo truly realizes, wait a second, I still don't have Baneling speed. That's not good. Especially given the fact that melee attacks level 2 is finishing up as well, and that is one of those things that if you have Baneling speed, you have the +2, you can one-shot all of the workers from the Protoss player. Just a great, you know, a combination to have there. 183 supply for Lambo. MaxPax feeling a little bit ballsy though here, moving on the map with all of his Stalkers. Has a Zealot run by setup as well at the same time, but Lambo's already in position to deal with that. I'm not entirely sure if this was intentional or maybe he spotted the Zealot somewhere going in. Templar Archives being constructed. We have another Disruptor on the way. S+2 is getting closer and closer to finishing up here in that forge. I'm actually starting to become a little bit nervous right now for Lambo. It feels like, yes, he's in a good position, and he probably should have had a bit of a timing, but given the fact that Centrifugal Hooks isn't done yet, we see the Templar Archives coming in with a lot of gas in the bank as well here for MaxPax. That's, what, 4 Archons almost? Could also just try and research Storm, although I don't think it's going to be in time. Much prefer just straight up Archon morph here. Yeah, there's still 500 gas in the bank, so 2 more Archons, or 2 more Templar getting warped in. We have another Disruptor, I think, on the way as well. Yeah, it's just being queued up. Possibility of starting +3 at the same time as well. These Zealots are struggling to get some damage on. Good hold position micro coming out of Lambo. He's one of the players that's actually really solid at defending his workers by just hold positioning them around spines and constantly moving them back and forth, trying to basically make sure that he loses as little drones as possible. He's one of the Zerg players that's extremely good at that, extremely competent when it comes to that type of thing. A great hold positioner. Not something a lot of people are known for. Oh. Disruptor shots are connecting right now. Bailing's also connecting though. I think these Bailing connections were a little bit bigger. Archon count has dwindled very much so. I think if any of these Bailings connect right now in this mineral line, it's just going to be terrible here for MaxPax. Just won't have the worker count anymore to continue reinforcing over here. One more Disruptor does get blasted. A couple of Biles will be dodged as well. All the Stalkers will end up dying here on Cosmic Sapphire on the 12 o'clock. And the Archons will start going down. More and more reinforcements streaming in for Lambo. There's 25 probes have died right now. Missile attacks level 1 finishes up. Still no Hive. Still no Infestation Pit on the way either. But I don't actually think it's going to matter very much. Biles into absolutely nothing. These Ravager shots didn't quite end up hitting. Lambo has completely won this game at this point. He's on 6 bases, has the ability to take a rich Vespine Geyser, adds a couple of extra drones. I would not mind seeing +2 range start, maybe even a Carapace upgrade or an Infestation Pit. But Lambo says, no, actually I have better plans. I'm just going to go continue killing my opponent. So MaxPax is looking for a Purification Nova that potentially could help him come back into this game. But without a Fort base, without Storm, without basically anything superior, it's always very difficult. StarCraft is a game of many different types of advantages. You have the army comp advantage, you have upgrade advantages, and you have eco advantages. It feels like MaxPax currently is in possession of none of these advantages. He's behind in absolutely every imaginable way, as Lambo is moving in here to really just go for the kill. 198 supply against 116. Good dodges here on those first 2-3 Purification Novas. There's one more available, but it's not going to connect with actually anything whatsoever. Bailing's trying to get in, connecting with them probes. Also won't quite work out, but yeah, this is just looking extremely bad here right now for MaxPax. Bailing's connect once again with a lot of these Stalkers. Purification Novas off of cooldown. We'll get some hits on these Roaches and Ravagers, but it is simply not going to be enough. After a good opener for MaxPax, does not quite manage to finish off this game. GG gets called as Lambo wins Cosmic Sapphire. Brilliant little game there out of Lambo. Poor start, like I said before, and manages to take it back. Really did not take any damage against any of the Zealot run bys that MaxPax went for. Really think the drone control that Lambo has, although it's a very specific thing to compliment someone on, he's really very good at that. He's brilliant at it. Kind of feels like you're complimenting someone's left eyebrow. You know, it's a very tiny thing, which is a weird compliment to give. I would not really recommend it, because the first reaction is going to be like, well, what about my right eyebrow? But no, I think Lambo's drone control, his micro, making sure that he doesn't lose any drones, despite not having any units to defend, is always fairly good. Queen positioning is on point. He knows when to hold position. He knows when to kind of command them away, you know, to go to a different mineral patch, move through the units. His decision making in that regard is almost always perfect, and I think it's one of the top things that he does. Like, it's really, really sick. This sounds silly to compliment someone on, but it's I think it's a little bit underrated still at the top Zerg level as well. Every now and again you see some other top Zergs just losing like 10-15 workers for free without really microing their drones. They might run them away and they're quick at that, but not a lot of hold positioning going on, no spines in cheeky positions either. So we'll have to wait and see what's going to end up happening here. Wait, yeah, MaxPax managed to get the block off here on Lambo's natural. And it's going to, what is this? Oh, wait, what is this? Oh, this was a core first. I'm sorry, I completely missed this. Oh, this is so MaxPax as well, right? Just does his own little tricks. His own little tricks that no one else likes, that no one else does, but MaxPax, he's in love with him. Very late on the warp gate. Almost makes me believe that it's a fake warp gate, and no matter what's going to happen, he will just end up cancelling it and go for a Stargate anyway first. It's going to be a double... It has to be double adept. If you open with core first and don't go double adept, there's actually no point to go to playing core first. So the beauty of core first, for the people that are not aware, they have never heard of core first, basically just means that you get your cybernetics core before your nexus. And in the case of PvZ with the low ground wall, you get your adept out about 9 8 to 9 seconds faster. If you're really quick, maybe even 10 seconds faster, but most of the time it's 8 to 9 seconds quicker with that initial adept. The follow-up is going to be a 3-gate as well. I've seen MaxPax play this. I've seen him play this a decent amount in the past. And this particular build order that he's going for right now, with the core first, adept, into Stalker, is a build order that originally comes from SOS, that we saw SOS play on Nightshade in, I want to say, either 2020 or 2019 versus Serral, and taking a win against Serral when Serral was in absolute peak condition. It was Intel Extreme Masters Katowice. I want to say 2019 or 2020 was the first time we really saw this. The 3-gate with an initial double adept, a chrono on the warp gate as well, lots of adepts initially, and then coming in with a very sick follow-up with more adepts with glaives, and it just dealt so much damage. This time around, it's actually not doing all that well at all here. As we see, Lambo has already taken out 2 adepts. Did lose 4 drones and 3 links as well, but still kind of like it for Lambo. Overlord is going to be sacrificed here. Sees the robotics facility, sees the Twilight Council researching that resonating glaives upgrade as well. 7 links are just kind of idling. 34 workers against 37. Lambo opting for the second gas. Wow. This is going to be a Ravager Link defense then, I guess. The second gas is only really necessary if you're wanting to go into those quick Ravagers to deal with this type of build. And you initially just build a crap ton of links to deal with the, the slow adepts without the resonating glaives. And in the moment these resonating glaives finish, that's a finish. That actually is going to be a finish on that shade. Very interesting. How many links do we have? We have 15 links out right now. 2 more gateways coming in as well. Where did the shade go? Back out, it seems like. 3 adepts do end up surviving. Killed a bunch of extra links. Not entirely sure if that was worth it. Here comes the prism out as well. 3rd gas is on the way. This is going to be a 6-gate all-in coming out of MaxPax's Mass Adept. I'd love to see this work, and I have seen him do this exact build order. This isn't quite what SOS did back in the day. I believe he just played like a standard 3 or 4-gate adept from it, and then followed up with something slightly more normal. But here, Lambo realizes immediately what's happening, sees all of these adepts, like, oh, wait a second, this ain't good. Tries to go for the surround piles, might connect. No, good control here out of MaxPax, just elevatoring these adepts. Might actually decide to get them up on the high ground here. We need another warp in, though, as the money should be getting a little bit higher right now for MaxPax. 36 workers still alive for Lambo at this moment, who's building 16 more links. MaxPax does not have the balls currently to get the warp in going with the prism, and instead decides to move back. Warped in a bunch of adepts at home. Do we have a... Okay, we do have something of a transition coming in here with that Robo Bay. But this is just a tough situation all around, honestly. This is a tough situation all around. 6 more adepts coming in here for MaxPax. Lambo didn't buy it anymore and decided, hey, I want to go into a lair. I want to add a couple of extra drones, but was he allowed to do that? I'm not so sure. Still a lot of Ravagers alive. There's a bunch of links that are not here defensively. None of these biles should really connect, as 3 adepts will shade in towards the 3rd base, and the rest is all going to finish up in the natural. Not enough links to truly catch these adepts. Keep it in position for the biles, but a lot of biles are still going to get the connections that they wanted. Big warp in the main base at the same time here. I think there should be a cancel in the natural, but no, MaxPax accidentally lets it finish. There's nothing of value over here at the 3rd base. This is once again an extremely chaotic game. 3rd base has started at this point for our Danish Protoss player, and the 3rd base for Lambo might actually be in a little bit of danger. Here come a couple of biles, will not quite connect with the prism, as this 3rd base, well, like I said, potentially might end up dying. We need 1 more adept warp in here, and I think it would be fantastic. Good cancel on these adepts. We'll end up sniping off 2 of these Ravagers. Link count isn't high enough anymore. Worker count 44 versus 44. But if this 3rd base dies, MaxPax is going to have a massive advantage, and will have the ability to just kind of pull back and say, hey, I got my disruptors coming out. You can't kill me with a counterattack. I'm just up half a base right now. And that's a situation the Zerg never wants to be in. Adepts are going in for the shade. Will not end up finishing. Would not have minded if that was a finish. personally. I think it would have been a good finish on those shades. A couple of adepts being warped in at home. Another shade comes in towards the main base. Bells being thrown down. GG comes out of Lambo here, seeing the third base, knowing he doesn't have a third base, and seeing that many adepts as the score is all tied up 1-1 in this best of 5. And so far in this best of 5, a very aggressive MaxPax in the early game. 3-gate DT the first time around. Second game, ooh, what is this? Second time we saw a 6-gate glaive adept. Yes, there was a transition that he went for, but it came after a lot of aggression, and the aggression is actually what ended up killing Lambo. Fantastic build order here out of MaxPax's with that core first opener as well. The 3-gate now decided to go for a double probe, or sending 2 probes downstairs and then going for this scout to block the opponent natural. It's not actually necessary on this map, funnily enough. The reason for that is pretty interesting actually, as Tropical Sacrifice is the worst mining map in the map. Oh, yes, the rush distance isn't actually that short, so you would say, hey, you need to send a slightly earlier probe than after your pylon. But in reality, if you go with a probe after the pylon scout, basically, what it allows you to do is that you can still block, because there's so little money coming in for the Zerg player initially. Now we have a pool coming in as well. We have an extractor here. Hatchery on the third base. So Nexus is going to land on the net before the core. So a different build order coming out of MaxPax. But I'm feeling the aggression. I feel like he might just stick with this Twilight team the entire series through. As MaxPax is a player that likes to kind of copy himself, you know, and just slightly different iterations of a similar opener. That's how he loves to play. That's how he got so good in PvP. That's how he got so good in PvT with that 4-gate blink, with the 3-gate blink. And now we're seeing him do this well in PvZ as well, with just completely his own style, really. I mean, glaive builds aren't new, but they're a little bit more uncommon in the current meta. Like, even a player like Hero, who seemed to be very fond of Twilight builds, kind of abandoned them. I said, no, I don't want this anymore. I just want straight up Stargate. Huge fan of MaxPax. Still not sure whether he will be going to Intel Extreme Masters Katowice despite qualifying for it. It would be great to have him at such a massive international tournament. Actually would be fantastic. Stargate. Okay, this is... Honestly, I think this is brilliant. Great little mind game here. Oh, I really like that. So what he did right now is he opened up with a warp gate. Double chrono on the adept, so very similar to what he's been doing all series long. But then he follows it up with a Stargate. Now this Stargate is very late, it really is. And the Oracle, as a result, is going to be quite late as well. But I'm okay with it, because the trick here is that Lambo scouts the warp gate timing and says to himself, oh, this is a fast warp gate. Surely this is just going to be a Twilight or a Dark Shrine opener once more. Maybe even a Robo is also a possibility, of course. But I don't think Lambo's head currently... Oh my god, this is big as well here. As MaxPax will end up losing one adept. Shades this adept inwards rather than outwards, and as a result loses it. This could have been so good for MaxPax, and he killed 7 links and 1 drone. Losing 1 adept is completely fine in that case. Now he's going to need to build a 4th adept over here. And on top of that, it allows Lambo to move across the map with these links too, which will pretty much allow a scout on the Oracle. I don't think Lambo is mentally preparing at all for an Oracle. He's... Just barely missed it. This could be a big deal. Let's take a look at the response here out of Lambo. Yeah, throws down a Roach Warren immediately. And that Roach Warren is way too early, so that cost him a fair chunk of money. Oracle is getting spotted at this moment. There's no spores ready whatsoever. Lambo is not really paying attention. It was going to end up losing 1 worker for free, 2 workers for free. There's a single queen in the main base right now. Roach Warren gets cancelled immediately. But this is going to cost Lambo a lot of workers. And this is such... MaxPax's mind games are so extremely good. And one of the reasons why his mind games work is because he can play a lot of different build orders. If you have a player that is only capable of playing Stargate, then this type of mind game wouldn't work as well. Lambo still would have in his mind, hey, wait a second, most likely it's just going to be a Stargate. But because MaxPax has shown Twilight Council builds in the first 2 games. Right now, this warp gate fake, which it really just was a warp gate fake, ends up working here for MaxPax. Gets him a lot of kills. Forced out a Roach Warren that was way faster. Yes, Lambo ended up killing it, but it's still some lost mining time on that drone. Of course, you have the cancellation fee as well that you need to pay for. Roach Warren eventually will need to be constructed anyway. We have 3 oracles out on the map currently. Big revelations coming in, as every single creep tumor will end up dying over here. Still see MaxPax actually looking for some damage. Trying to fight these queens. It's just 3 queens and there's 3 oracles. Almost feels like there's some real potential here. Shade in rather than shading out. It's going to be another double shot on these 2 creep tumors. It's not going to be a finish on the adepts. Not yet, at least. The oracles just kind of sharking around, seeing where they can deal damage. They see this forward base and say, well, this forward base actually is probably not going to survive. The adept shade in towards the 3rd. Will not end up finishing. And this base indeed will be cancelled. And usually I'd say it's not the biggest deal if you're playing some roach heavy style, but in this case, it's actually kind of a big deal. If you open up with a pure Ling type of setup, and you want to get as many minerals as you can off of a high worker count, which is definitely what Lambo was getting into, I think, this game. Look at that, adding 8 more workers, going up to 71 already. Not having a forward base for that mining is really bad, but on top of that, if you're playing pure Ling, it really sucks if you don't have a forward base due to the larva count that you're lacking. It's going to be Hydra Lisk as well as a Baneling Nest, so Hydra, Bane. We have no extra gases coming out of MaxPax yet, who is actually following this up in a hero-esque way. So 4 gases, already looking at that forward base location as well. You have a crap ton of gateways, that's the one thing I will have to mention. Feel forced to mention here. This was some great early gaming. Lambo up to 78 workers already, but look at that hatchery timing. We'll see some major oversaturation right now at one of the bases, or long distance mining, and neither of those things is really something that Lambo will want right now. This forward base should have been done already. It is not. It's going to cost him a decent chunk of money. Could have had these drones mining from a close by base way faster. At the same time, Blink is finishing up, Melee attacks level 1 is finishing up as a forward base is on the way. This is a pretty major attack, as Rumble doesn't actually have that many units right now. Something interesting to keep in mind. Interesting force field as well. MaxPax forced back for now. 5 more Stalkers coming in. Bringing the total up to 17 Stalkers against 17 Lings. Worker count very low right now here for MaxPax. But the army count is very low for Lambo. If you don't want to die, it's surely more important to have a lot of units rather than having a lot of workers. Perhaps a tiny rotation coming towards the top right now. Creep Tumor gets taken out. Forward base is being shot at. Perhaps there is a possibility here for MaxPax to actually do something useful. There's simply not enough links in position right now. Muscular Augments does finish up, but there's only 2 Hydras, 3 Hydras. I don't think Hydra upgrades are really going to be the saving grace here for Lambo. His 5th base on the bottom side is under attack as well. I assume those are Zealots. No, there are 2 Adepts instead, looking for some worker kills. But as there's no workers, worker kills are going to be difficult to come by. So now the worker kills in the 3rd base are definitely happening. We have a Baneling run by towards the 3rd of MaxPax as well, who already has that forward base set up and is starting to saturate it as well at this point. I wonder what Lambo's plans here are. Seems like he kind of just wants to go for a massive Hydra Bane timing. I'm not entirely sure if that's going to actually be possible for him. Well, in order to do a timing, you need to get across the map, and right now he's still being pressured pretty hard here by all of these Stalkers that MaxPax is sending forward. Good flank coming out of the German Zerg, but Lings will end up getting cleaned up by the Oracles as well as the Stalkers. Roboway about to finish up. 7 more charge lobs get warped in. I hope they're moving towards the top side. Well, there's 4 Zealots that are about to arrive there already as the Overlord Speed Pneumatized Carapace finishes up. Lots of transfuses going down on these Hydras. MaxPax pulling ahead in supply pretty significantly right now at this point. More Zealots coming in here as the Banelings, well, looking for some cleanup duty. Will kill the Zealots that went for the run by on the 4th base. But overall, MaxPax in a pretty dominant position. Taking a 5th base will most likely clear this bottom side 5th. Unless Lambo can get there in time. I just don't really believe in it. Prism heading in towards the main base as well at the same time. Lambo cannot quite get the snipe off on it. That focuses completely on the fight. As we'll have a massive Zealot warp in the main base, or at least I can only imagine. Every Oracle gets pushed back. The Stalkers are actually starting to drop as well, but yeah, it's not even going to be a warp in the main base. Just 4 Zealots in the main base is simply going to be enough. We have a Zealot heading towards the top side as well. One Spine is not quite done yet, and I think these Stalkers can start moving forward and kind of thinking about this 5th base that Lambo has. MaxPax's 5th base has finished up. It is currently 63 workers against 81 as well, which is obviously great here for a MaxPax. If you're a Protoss player, you will be aware of that. I really love this type of run by. The moment you get 2-2 in these scenarios, and there's no defensive Protoss player, this type of run by can actually deal so much damage. Like if you kill 10-15 workers here, that's a huge deal. Let's not forget though that Lambo technically defensively all-inning, like he doesn't have the workers, he needs to get every unit out that he can. And he's going to get blasted right now by another Zealot run by here in towards the 4th base. Blink forward out of MaxPax, you just barely caught the tail end of that. Not that many workers end up dying, only 4. I think it was 5 Banelings that tried to go for it, so that's a pretty decent trade here out of MaxPax. We're still losing a lot of Zealots in the run by, but it's just so far ahead economically that I think it's just going to be fine. Disruptor shows up as well, blink forward out of MaxPax, and Lambo out of position with his other units is not quite going to be capable of defending his 5th right now. It doesn't feel like it at least. We need one more Zealot warp and we're not getting it over here, which is honestly not that weird because the Prism is semi-stuck in the dead space right now. 5th base does get sniped. It is 5 base against 4. It is a lot of Zealots. It is Immortal, or sorry, it's Disruptors and it's Stalkers. And all of these against pure Hydra Bane. GG gets called. MaxPax wins the 2nd game in a row. Puts a score at 2-1. As this is a best of 5 Stargazers is going to be played here. Stargazers is one of the maps that usually gets vetoed when it comes to best of 3. Stargazers and Moondance, of course, the vetoes from Zerg. But not this time around. Seems like Lambo went for that Moondance veto. MaxPax switches it up for the first time. We don't get that hash block in here. Instead, we're just straight up seeing that Gateway Scout into an assimilator, and Lambo opening up with a 16 hatchery. 2 more drones as well coming out, and it seems to kind of go towards a normal game. We have seen some wild crap on maps like this. We've seen these mineral patches being mined out with proxy hatcheries, or just honestly just regular link floods, trying to mine out these minerals, sending over like 8 drones to get them down so your links can get in. We now have a pool coming up as well. As the extractor finishes, or starting to finish up. Extractors are some of the ugliest buildings in the world. Look a little bit like intestines, but a little more nasty even. Which is difficult to imagine, but the art people at StarCraft 2 managed to make it work. Such a cute little infestor here, playing with the car. Drones popping out into the gas as we have MaxPax trying to just harass this a little bit, right? A very standard PvZ play here, coming in this the early stages of Stargazers. Really curious how Lambo is going to approach it. We have seen some Swarm hosts play in the past on this map. We've seen some drop play as well. So just like these these 2 theories is like the first thing that Protoss can do is they can take this base, and in that case Swarm hosts coming from the middle area are actually extremely viable because you can shoot them over these mineral patches, making life very easy for you. However, if the Protoss player is like, I want to take this as my 3rd, all of a sudden those Swarm hosts coming from this bridge area aren't all that dangerous anymore. They don't have a base over here they can attack. They can only really attack this bad boy. And then what we see some Zergs do instead is to go for like a cheeky link drop in here, because it's just difficult to spot your entire base. Maybe even Nidus Worm can go down. Just a lot of opportunity for the Protoss player, or for the Zerg player to do something aggressive on this map, despite it being a pretty defensive map overall. We'll have to wait and see how MaxPax's expansion pattern is going to be. Follows his first adept up with a Stargate. No harassment for the first time. Opened up with the Gateway Scout. It's like, hey, if I don't block your natural, I don't actually care very much about the harassment. And it's not going to harass here whatsoever. It's very, very interesting. We have a Void Ray coming out. Oh, wow. This is going to be some purely hidden crap. And this almost feels to me like it's going straight into like double Stargate carrier or something along those lines, right? We have these mineral patches being mined. We have the denial of vision that's coming in. So Lambo is going to be blind this entire game. Will not get a good scout on the gases in the natural here for MaxPax either. Like, Lambo is going to struggle. He's just going to straight up struggle. One Oracle behind this, and then the question is it going to be double Stargate? Is it going to be a charge load all in? Will this be Phoenixes or Carriers or Glaive Adepts? Like, there's so many directions that MaxPax can take this, and Lambo will just be completely unaware of whatever the direction is that MaxPax will take it. Seems to at least get the double gases, which makes a Twilight Council build a little bit less likely. And I love the idea here of just a fleet beacon, second Stargate, and then rushing into a fifth gas that doesn't get scouted by the middle Selnaga tower, right? So the middle Selnaga tower provides vision of your opponent's gas, but it doesn't really provide vision of the other gas. So you often want to take this gas a little bit earlier to not really give away all that much. We do have a second Stargate on the way. Now the question will be, is this for Phoenixes or is this going to be for Carriers? The double Adepts are moving in at this point. We'll take out one, we'll take out two, and even gonna get a third drone as we continue shading up into the main base. This is going to cost a lot of workers here for Lambo. Gotta cancel on that shade as well. More gases going down for the German Zerg player. This gets scouted immediately, by the way, here by MaxPax. This feels a lot like it's just going to be a bit of a roach all-in. Perhaps a roach all-in with Overlord speed. Is that a possibility? So like a queen drop with it. Very fast gas here coming out of Lambo. And I'm wondering what that means. We have our first four roaches coming in as well right now. Not sure if this is defensive roaches or aggressive roaches. Still no pneumatized carapace either. Which is of course the Overlord speed. And it's pretty much a necessity if you want to get anything done here aggressively. Because otherwise, well, let's face it. This Void Ray, the Oracle, even the Phoenixes are just going to be a little bit too strong if there's no anti-air here whatsoever. And we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen exactly. For now, more and more roaches, more links being produced. Lambo is really holding down that button, huh? He's going hard right now. Is he going to start moving with these? Yeah, he's going to start moving with the queens. Void Rays, or sorry, Overlord moving across the map. It is just a regular queen walk, and he's going to probably poop some creep at some point. As these Overlords are just being spread further and further forward. Is MaxPax very ready for this? Not really, right? I don't think he's aware of it yet. Does he have a battery? No, no battery. No, nothing here. Would love to see one of these Overlords already poop a little bit. Just to increase the speed of the queens. Allow for a single creep tumor to be built as well. Which is be so helpful right now. I'd absolutely love that. Two drones have gone down at the same time. These Phoenixes still in an aggressive position. Here, MaxPax is going to figure out what's going on actually. Moves the Void Ray out of harm's way just in time. But there's no batteries at home. Void Ray now is going to actually get hit here by a bile as the queens continue attacking. Another bile will force the Void Ray away. And this Adept as a doorman is probably not going to be here for much longer. Focus will be on the pylons. Transfuses are not going to be available yet as the creep spread is too far back. Here comes the creep from the Overlord. We need another tumor though. Yep, there we go. Lambo, very good call. Double tumors. As the moment he's finished, the creep is going to spread a little bit faster. Pylon will get taken out. Lambo with an old school queen all in. No Overlord drops available. Just a walk with that Overlord poop is going to pretty much get the job done here. 66 army supply against 30. One super battery gets activated in the far back. There's one Immortal helping out as well. And this cannon is alive. More Ravagers coming in here all at the same time. How many Phoenixes do we have? We have 7 Phoenixes again, so this is 8 Queens with so many transfuses available. This is starting to feel extremely bad here for MaxPax. Simply does not have the production anymore after losing these 2 gateways in the natural. Immortals are being popped out. We have more air units. He has 1 Void Ray, 1 more Phoenix coming in. Cannons, 2 cannons are alive in the far back, but I just don't think there's a way to deal with these queens. And if you can't kill the queens, you can't kill the Ravagers either. Vital Cannon that is in range of anything Zerg is going to get taken out. Immortal falls as well. And the Robo is actually under a decent amount of fire too. And this is going to be a pretty close one here. Immortal will not pop out. That was like a millisecond away from popping. GG out of MaxPax as Lambo ties up the series 2-2 and will be heading towards the final game in this best of 5. And that brings us to our final game here on Waterfall. What a map that is, huh? What a map Waterfall is. Waterfall is one of these things where you look at it and you go to yourself, well, I wouldn't want to play it, but if MaxPax play it, it doesn't look so bad for Protoss. Interesting that Lambo kind of let it be as the last map as well there. Preferring both Tropical Sacrifice as well as Cosmic Sapphire over it. Despite a lot of Protoss players vetoing Waterfall first. Not MaxPax. He says, no, I actually like it. I enjoy this map. He's 100% going to play Twilight here, by the way. Stargate not really a viable option for Protoss. Just the way that the bases are laid out and how easy it tends to be for the Zerg to initially defend and sending counterattacks. Beautiful large area to attack in general. Roach Alins are strong, Ling Bane is powerful. There's just so many Alins you can die to on Waterfall that playing anything non-Twilight Council almost always is going to be a mistake. You see a fast Nexus coming out. A little bit of harassment here with the Probe. Lambo's going to take care of that, of course. So quick clicks, make sure that he doesn't get denied too much mining. I'm really sad actually that APM became such a useless metric ever since the Zergs started doing their insane repeat rate prep. Look at this. Average APM of 1100. It's obviously not actually Lambo clicking 1100 times a minute. It's they basically lower the repeat rate on their keyboard, which if they hold down the S button for 0.1 seconds, it basically will have repeated like 20 or 30 times or however many times it is. Allows them to build Zerglings, drones, just units in general extremely quick. But because every little click gets counted as an action per minute, it completely inflates the APM counter, which was a fantastic metric actually to kind of figure out how fast someone was. Sure, a lot of spam clicking isn't so great, but I think at the very high level there often was a little bit of a correlation between being good and having high APM. Someone like Maru, who always is around like 400, 420 actions per minute. Yeah, I think it definitely shows that fast players matter. Ooh, this is interesting. There's going to be a drone pool here in the final game. And was this a double chrono boosted unit? Yes, it was. Adept is going to scout. I'm not sure if this Adept will get the scout. Might not actually get in here. 4 links are out. There's nothing at home to defend right now for MaxPax. Does not have a Stargate behind this either, as he did go for that Twilight Council. Pilot's going to be taken out here. Do we have a recall on the Adept on the other side of the map, or did the Adept just end up dying? What happened with it? I don't know. It's over here, it seems like. Oh no, MaxPax in so much trouble right at this moment. 1 Adept, 1 Stalker, lots of probes being pulled downstairs. Don't quite think that's going to be enough the moment Metabolic Boost finishes up. This is going to be absolute hell here. Lots of links actually do end up dying, but MaxPax lost 23 workers already. 6 workers against 12. The Stalker goes down, the Adept goes down. GG gets called. Lambo finishing this series off with a banger of a build. A drone pool link flood in the final game here on Waterfall, basically analyzing and saying, hey, Waterfall, this is a really bad map for Stargate, and without Oracles, this type of build can be so darn difficult to hold, and definitely seemed to be the case. Well, that is going to be it for me today. Thanks all so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy this series. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Thank you, and bye-bye.